Hello and good evening and welcome to The Truth Behind the Truth.
Yes.
Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in with us and taking the time out of your wonderful Saturday evenings to share with us, on a night of hot topics with the fellas.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we're going to be reviewing some of the shows that we had over the past few weeks, talking about that good stuff, and we're going to dig into some hot topic stuff that's going on in society too. It's a lot of shit that is going on. I'm telling you, a lot of drama. Actually, a whole lot of drama that's going on. I mean, I just cannot believe where these people are. I really can't. But anyway, before we get into that, I want to welcome our social media base. Thank you for tuning in with us. Our ever-growing YouTube side, Facebook, as well as our Instagram. So we love you guys. I looked at the statistics the other day, fellas. Hey, we overseas. Facebook is letting us know we are being seen overseas. We're getting likes overseas. So hey, we are worldwide. All right.
They're watching us?
Yeah, they're actually watching us.
Are you watching us?
Yeah, I know, right?
Wow.
So the good thing is that a lot of times that people may not catch us live, but they go back and see the show and it gets shared and they see it again. So all of these statistic broadcast, information comes back to me and lets me know who's watching, who's not, and all that good stuff. So I'm excited about it. So we're doing our thing, but we're gonna get into that a little bit more tonight as well.
Yes,
fellas, how you doing? Parnell, we see you out there. Got to your boot tie.
Oh,
sure. How you doing?
Doing good here at a wedding up here in Los Alamos. My friends back there. That's the wedding party back there. So I'm like, let me pop in and say hey to the fellas real quick before we get to the reception part.
The festivities.
Okay. Before you start out the electric slide.
And the Cha-Cha slide to be exact.
Or the electric glide, whatever it was. You know what I'm saying?
That's when you got a little over the hill because who's still. Well, let me stop right there. Who's not doing the electric slide? But
it's like everybody's wedding thing now to do that.
Who's not? But, it's more up to date with the Cha-Cha slide. I think has now almost taken over the electric slide bit.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Harold, how are you, baby?
I'm good. I got my cat back. My cat was missing for 4 days.
Well, did she show up at the house?
What? Well, our neighbor had her. Our neighbor
yeah, like I said the other day. Yeah, so that's good. Okay.
So,
that's good.
So all is well.
So she was just trying to spread the love. That's what she was.
I think she came back traumatized because she hasn't been the same since she got back. So.
Oh, really? Wow.
Oh, wow. I'm about to say that big snake that they wrapped around your neck.
Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about that in a minute.
I hope that is traumatized. That one you couldn't fight off.
Oh, that's right. So tell us about that real quick before we dig in. About your snake event.
Yeah.
Well, I was minding my business, coming from a meeting with my banker, and this guy had a snake. Now, I am terrified of snakes. And I just wanted to take a picture of the snake, actually. And he said, no, why don't you hold it? And I'm like, okay, bro, I'm not holding that snake. And because I like to, every day I've tried to do something that I'm afraid of. I think that's important for growth. Doing something that you're afraid of, because I always think that, your next level is on the other side of fear. And so I was like, okay, let's go ahead and face this. And so he put the snake on me, and I was freaking out. I was smiling, but on the inside, I was panicking. But it wasn't as bad as I thought it was, which is often the case with things that we fear. It's never as bad as we think it's going to be. We kind of, create a narrative like, oh my God, I'm going to freak out and it's going to be awful. But it wasn't that bad. I was happy when he got off me, but it wasn't.
Right. So you're not convinced that you will become a snake owner right now, right?
No, I won't be the snake whisperer. I won't be getting a snake. But I just wanted to. I just wanted to have that experience.
Right. Well, I apply. So, here's the thing. I will live the experience through you. So, hey, as long as you were good with it, I'm good. Okay. I don't have to be, I don't have to have the first-hand experience at all. I do not. That spiders on the. They in my world.
That's a very authentic moment to even put out there, Harold, that, we do have these fears and traumas of things that we would not go so far as to put a snake over our neck or to go up towards the tallest building or climb the tallest mountain because of a certain fear that is just instilled in us through whatever that we have dealt with in the past or have been instilled in us. Because let me tell you, I lived in the South for a long time, and my mom has a thing about snakes too. And
were y'all in all that woods around y'all?
Hey, you get used to it. You get used to road runners and moccasins and rattles and
no, you don't.
Yes, you do. It depends now, but she has an issue with that too, and I don't care for snakes either. So my hat's off to you, Harold, for doing that. But I don't know. I would have to get myself at a mindset to just put a snake over my neck that big.
Okay,
that's something. That's something. Wow.
Exactly, and not just to support. We're saying I watched. Here lately, all of these reels that come up on Instagram and all that type of stuff, and you and I were talking about how the wildlife is when you look at it from a different perspective. And I was looking at some of the ones. I'm a little bit disappointed in lions. You know what I'm saying? I got to mention it's kind of in line because you're looking at the natural habitat. I did not know that was the converseur. Is that the right word? Is it the right word? That meat eater, whatever. Carnivore. I just didn't know how seriously carnivores they were. They will attack and eat anything.
Yeah.
And it's very sad because, you see them, these African things that they do, and then they're attacking baby giraffes. They're going after all of the babies of these wildebeest and everything else. And it's like, dang, how did we get there? They're kind of going to lead into what I'm talking about tonight too. But, how did we get there? And it makes me feel like, wow, when if you go to a slaughterhouse, you see all the cows hanging upside down, that have been slaughtered and whatever to go to market. It's really no different. But it's just kind of shocking to watch them to pursue, to attack it, to do the blood kill right at the neck, and then and have a feast. Y'all for zebras and everything. I'm like, alligators, ain't nothing safe out there.
Well, that opens up another conversation. You say, how can a lion could do that, but how it's almost the same to the same effect as how can a human being walk into a supermarket in Buffalo today and kill 10 people and injure 13.
Yes.
You think about stuff like that. If stuff like that can happen in the animal world where a lion or hyena can just attack baby deers and elephants and stuff, it's the same thing about human beings that travel 200 miles from where they are originally from to go into a grocery store and just cause all types of holy hell on people they don't know because they are black, which is one of these symptoms is now called a hate mass shooting at this point. But it's just that type of situation, like you're saying about the lions. We're doing that as human beings.
That's true. I agree.
Slaughtering people for no reason.
I agree. I mean,
and that's just that's something to think about.
Guys that are with our audience saying, I mean, now you may feel like we're gonna be all over the place tonight because we are. I mean, this hot topic will be from one end to the other. I mean, but it's an element of truth. But here's the thing: it's an element of truth behind the truth, and these subjects need to be had. These things need to be talked about. So hopefully, the person over in England will pass it on to somebody else that follows to start having more conversation because it's ridiculous. I mean, just like the NRA need to be banned, in my opinion. Okay, at the end of the day, I mean, realistically, to support something like this and then still want to, when you get down to an issue like this, I understand things need to be isolated to the one given situation, which I'll get into that a little bit later. Incident, to one, isolated down to that. But still, it's just the fact that these people, I think they feel like they have a hall pass to get what they want to get, in a situation like this. I mean, getting guns and shooting everybody up, about that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you had some stuff. Sorry, but so we'll get into that. Make your point here. I'm sorry, I ran off on the.
No, I'm just gonna say I think a lot of what we're seeing is just examples of mental illness. There's a lot of mental illness,
huge amount
manifesting that we're just seeing the evidence of it. And I was watching the interview with Ashley Judd and Diane Sawyer. Yes, she was talking about her mom, and that interview just broke my heart because the way she described mental illness. It's almost indescribable, mental illness, trying to diagnose mental illness. She said her mother was resistant to treatment, either, through therapy or through drugs. It just wasn't working. And she was living this nightmare that was physically and emotionally painful. And I just think that it's just a lot of that, and we don't understand it. We just don't understand it.
I would almost kind of consider like the silent epidemic. You know what I mean? Because it moves its way in. We're kind of tying back to a snake. At the end of the day, it silently moves its way in, and then it attacks itself and it attaches. And then once it attaches to a person, it squeezes them out. It squeezes the life out of them. And unfortunately, if we don't get a balance of a situation, it will squeeze the life out, life out of you. And from the suicide angle to whatever happens to a person in their life. Yeah. But anyway, I know, Pernell, hold your thought real quick. We're going to go to a quick break, and we'll come back and we'll go more of our hot topic discussion. All right. So we'll see you guys back here in just a minute. We've got Harold Paul. All right, and we're back. Hey, Harold. Hey, we're opening up with Harold. Hey, Harold.
Let me just continue what I was talking about
before. Exactly.
Welcome back to the truth behind the truth.
Thank you. Exactly. Go ahead, Pernell, with your point, baby.
Well, I was just going to say, JB won't be going on safari anytime if you ain't ready to watch the lions kill an animal.
Right now.
I love watching those shows because it's like nature is harsh and it does not care about how old or anything, whatever dinner is. It's like, hey, you're out here, I'm hungry, you're getting eaten. But Harold, I got to commend you on braving the snake because I love snakes. I wanted to, since I was in elementary school, and this lady brought a boa constrictor to our class named DC, and I was like, I had a snake around my neck. And then when I moved to California, I've had a couple of friends who own snakes. My brother and sister-in-law have snakes, so I'm just like, yay! But I could never find anybody that I lived with that would let me. It's either the snakes or me, and snakes don't pay rent. So, so good for you to embrace a fear.
Exactly.
Well, you know what? I wanted to say something before we move forward, just about mental illness. I was watching a TikTok video with Holly Robinson's daughter, who has bipolar, and she was sharing her experience, and she got a lot of backlash for sharing her experience because people were saying that she was embarrassing her mom by telling her truth. And it just made me realize why so many people suffer in silence, because here she is just sharing her truth about what she's experiencing, not trying to embarrass anybody, but just telling her truth, the struggles and the ups and downs that she's dealing with this disease called bipolar. And people are telling her she's embarrassing her mom, not worrying about her, that just you're embarrassing, you know. I think that's really sad.
Well, it's sad that, you know, even with that, you know, social media is just is a negative platform for people who are miserable and who do have that form of sickness in them, to even put that out there for somebody who has now exposed her storyline, her authenticity of having this situation within her life. I'm not surprised that, you know, the society that we live in is absolutely just, you know, it's always they bring out unwarranted stupidity.
Well, to piggyback on what you both were saying, I mean, society is bipolar.
Yes,
at the end of the day, I mean, society in itself is bipolar. You one way, you this minute, next minute somewhere else, over here you another minute. It depends on what is in fashion. I don't mean literally in fashion, but in fashion for the moment, you know. But I want to segue in real quick because we're in the same frame. I want to really talk about a minute. It's kind of going to get a little deep, you know, and I want you guys to chime in as well. But I want to make mention of the post that Parnell put out on Facebook this past week, you know, my comment behind that as well. I try to pride myself on being a very open, you know, person to different levels, you know, first of all, being a talk show host, we have to be open, you know, we have to be open to dialogue. We have to do things from different perspectives. But then then there comes situations where I think it's just absolutely, and I'm going to say absolutely damn ridiculous. Okay. And we have spent a lot of focus a lot of times trying to help people find their authenticity outside of religious behaviors, practices, things like that, but understanding who you are, the authentic person that you've been created to be. So with that being said, you know, thank you so much again, Parnell, for putting
what was the post, JB? What was the post for those that didn't see it?
Yeah, I was going to, because I posted it on my page as well. Well, what it was is that this stupid ass, okay.
You don't cuss the preacher. There you go.
Hey, you know me, okay. You know, this religious practice that was in Northern California. Okay, these parents were followers of, now I'm gonna say this stupid ass cult. Okay, and I'm gonna just call out what it was. So this cult is following under the heads of Christianity. Okay. So what they've done, their daughter they were waking up in the middle of the night. You know, children have go through situations as they're growing up. You know, they wake up in the middle of the night, you know, whatever, hear a sound, whatever the case may be. So they're making it sound like, or the parents make it sound like this daughter was possessed or whatever, having demonic happenings in her life. So this is why she's waking up crying in the middle of the night. Now, anybody that had a baby, okay, babies wake up during the middle of the night. Okay, they do. All right, so stupid ass, they do that. All right, so but anyway, so they took her to their pastor, and was wondering. So he said that this child had demons. Okay, all right. So what they did is they decided to do, and it's all in the article, guys. So I'm not fictitiously saying this. It's all in the article. You can read it for yourself. So he was performed an exorcist on this child, 4 years old child. Okay. 4 years old, and to push the mom to the point that the mom was putting her fingers down the daughter's throat to make her throw up the demons. Can you just make her vomit? Okay, on repeat. So long and short story of that, and I'm gonna get into that in a minute. Not the story, but long and short about that. So then they also were choking the daughter. Okay, so the daughter ends up dying from asphyxiation of the airway passages. So what makes it even worse? Okay, so after the daughter is dead, they didn't even call EMS for 2 hours after the daughter was gone. Wow. So when EMS finally gets to the daughter, the girl is all limp and everything else, and whatever the case may be. So they take out, try to revive her, which they couldn't do it because she was already dead. So my point about this is that, you know, I am so tired of Christianity doing what it is doing to society. And that's, I'm calling Christianity out. Now, if you get offended by me calling Christianity out, then do it. I'm not saying everybody in Christianity does it wrong, but unfortunately, you allow these kind of people, and rather than putting them on blast, like I'm doing right now, to exist, and then bring a bad name against the idea of the practice of Christianity. Okay, so understand what I'm saying about that. Now, those of you that are involved in Christianity, that do the right thing. Okay, but a lot of y'all are doing the wrong shit. Okay, at the end of the day, you have bamboozled black people into thinking that they are supposed to be one way because you took what the master told you from slavery and equated it and made it look like it was the Bible, when it really wasn't, because most of y'all need to go back and read. Okay, and read history and understand it. This is why I'm shifting. Why us as black people can't arrive and move to a position where we've been called to do, because they follow the shrine of the Bible rather than the truth of the Bible. Okay, there's a far different of truth of element of scripture versus the legalization what you guys have put out there. So one of the things this needs to stop. It really does. I'm serious. This type of practice is going on. So let me go a little bit further. So the Christians that understand what I'm talking about. Here it is. What in South LA was this past week. Another woman, 3 children. Okay, was associated with some Christian organization. Okay, killed her kids, murdered them. You know why? Because something told her that her kids had demons. So she got involved, got her 16-year-old son involved to murder her children. Really? And you find that really in scripture? And you're really teaching people this? Come on, wake up, please. All right, please. I ain't through, but go ahead.
Let me interject this because
right.
this is.
I told you I was going off tonight, Harold. You know it.
This is very troubling because at the end of the day, we have seen examples of this with Jim Jones.
Right.
We have seen situations with Waco and all this other stuff. When are we going to realize that you cannot always, and I don't know what it is. I think it's some form of wanting somebody to control our lives. I think there's it's like we put so much headship over somebody holding some type of moral compass over whatever that we're trying to live within our lives, that we tend to lose our reason in our own
we lose who we are.
We lose who we are and the situations where we should know better.
Absolutely.
And I hate to say it, but church is another situation, because you have people who go to church all day, every day, and they don't understand how to critically think what is being taught, or come up with an interpretation that they can go about, where they can, say, well, I hear what you're saying, but let me pray over this, because that doesn't represent what I stand for.
Right.
I'm just saying, I think people just need to take us. I think this is ridiculous. Number one, I think this is a tragedy. This is an unfortunate situation where somebody with reason should have, I don't know who, but somebody should have stood in their home or should have went in there and said, y'all know what? Wherever y'all going to listen, where y'all going to get this information, y'all got to stop. Right. But you know what? People are going to do what they want to do anyway. Right. That's true. Regardless of where you stand in this, they're going to,
That's true. Before I go on here, I'll go ahead and make a good point.
No, I was going to say, we're both human and divine, but it's that the religious aspects create this boogeyman mentality that exists, like there's some entity, this being that's out there that is dangerous, that is evil, that we kind of just cast all our troubles to and say, oh, that's the devil. You're possessed by something. Right. And oftentimes it's just that people don't understand human behavior. When people are acting out or doing things, people just don't take the time to understand, to figure out what's going on with you, what's happening. Are you in pain? Are you suffering in some kind of way? So we just use the excuse, oh, it's the devil. And then you think that the church or the pastor has some kind of special power, and he doesn't. But we make it as if he does, and it's just really unfortunate. I've seen that when I used to go to a church when I lived in the Bay Area, where they were trying to cast out homosexuality or cast out all these different, and it's like it just made it was just unbelievable for me to witness that. And I think I don't know how you change that, because it's so entrenched in the psyche and the belief of so many people. I don't know how you shift that.
Well, to point out, I'll make my point. Go ahead, Parnell, because I know you probably have to run, but go ahead and make your point, and I'll make mine after that. Go ahead.
My point is they get ready to serve dinner here at the wedding, so I got to get going.
Okay.
They just are talking. I got to go. People are bringing food to me, and we need to go to our next commercial break.
Okay. Well, you enjoy the food, and we'll see you next week.
All right, everybody, guys. But it's good to check in with you.
Okay. Enjoy.
All right.
See you, Michael.
See you, Mike. I think we might have to get ready for. We'll pick this
up. We're ready for a break.
Yeah, next break. We'll pick this up right after our next break, guys. We'll see you. All right, and we're back.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning into the Truth Behind the Truth as we are rating today. All right.
Yeah, we are mostly ranting
We're ranting today, but I'm going to finish my rant. We can, in just a second, because someone wanted to say to Harold's point as well. But one thing I want to remind you guys, on the 28th show, our affectionate Mama D will be back with us, the Diana West special guest, live on the 28th of the month. So we're so excited about her coming back. And next week, we will probably have an in-studio guest with us next week. Good friend of ours. We're trying to see how we can navigate that. Person's going to be visiting us, so we're going to try to have them on show with us as well next week. So we'll see how that works. Anyway, so that might be exciting as well. But anyway, back to my rant. So to your point, Harold. I mean, you know, there is such severity in what is going on. You know, but the one thing I will say, one thing I will say, that all of this type of behavior is being exposed. Okay. And it's being exposed. The church, as we know it, is being exposed. All of the high level of things are coming down. Okay. And I want to say, for those that will say, oh man, he's not, I love my position in my Creator. Okay, at the end of the day, I have learned from. I used to be a part of one of them type of going-ons and believed all that garbage. Okay, at the end of the day, so I'm speaking from a point of strength. For those of you who don't think I don't know what I'm talking about, okay, and I can take it to Scripture and understand it, but I'm not just not here to teach a Bible lesson. This is the point to bring attention and awareness to issues that are going on that sit in it every Sunday that allow it to go on. At the end of the day, you allow it to go on because you know the truth behind the truth. And the truth behind the truth, your Creator is telling you the truth behind the truth, but you want to listen to what somebody else is saying rather than what our Creator is saying to you directly. This is about an independent relationship at the end of the day. We all have different understandings. I had a conversation last night with my brother about this very same subject, and he was like, wow, I didn't really think about it like this. He said, well, what do you do when people try to line your life up with, quote unquote, the Bible? I said, well, tell them the Bible is for them. Let them find themselves in the Bible. Okay. Stop trying to find me in it. Find yourself in it first.
But that's why I feel like it's so, I know you're trying to finish the point, but I just feel like at the end of the day, that's why it's so important to have critical thinking skills.
Absolutely.
And to understand that everything is not for everybody. And on top of that, it's with critical thinking, you will learn how to think for yourself instead of somebody telling you what to do and how to go about doing it. You will have common sense.
Absolutely.
There is a book based on common sense.
Absolutely.
but I think that is what's missing, because in this society that we live in, we have social media, we have entertainment, we have religion, we have politics that are telling people to go out and do things that they have that has no reason or no base for any type of civilized nature. Right, it's just the fact that this church, wherever they went to, whoever their spiritual leader told them to do with this child, gave them some type of tool to go home and use on their child to make it to do this unfortunate situation, which is very unfortunate.
Right. Well, it's very to elaborate on that, then we're going to try to move on. But no, the pastor was there. He did it all. Okay, now the parents have been.
Oh wow!
Yeah, the parents have been prosecuted. Good, the parents have been prosecuted. Okay, at the end of the day for going, but he's still out there running around creating havoc with all this bad teaching. So I will say this. I know, and Harold, you can finish with the point about the religious side, and we'll move on. So I will say this part real quick about it is that, as I said earlier, you have to understand that everybody's life has a story. Okay, the scriptures are collections of stories that people have and experiences that they decided to talk to our Creator in their situation. Your life has a story, my life has a story, and it's no different from Moses, Joshua, Jacob, on the line down the road, every name I can name. Okay, it is your life, it is your story. However you relate that story to your Creator, it is not about you trying to live like Moses. Hello? It's not about you trying to live like Jesus. Okay? Live like whoever you are. You were given a name, live like by that name. Okay? And I promise you start living by that name, then the glory that you're trying to fight to give, you'll automatically give. All right, Harold.
No, I was just gonna say, you're right. I think a lot of things are being exposed, but the issue is that people choose to remain blind. They don't want to see. I remember it was a couple of years ago, there was this prophet named Brian Carn, I think that was his name. He got caught by giving prophecy that he had gotten from a psychic. He said the verbatim what this psychic has said verbatim what she said, and acted as if he was saying that was a prophecy from him that he received from God. And they had the video of it. And he's still in ministry. He still has a huge following. And it's like, even that exposure of him pretending like he had gotten this prophecy when it was obvious that he had stolen that prophetic message from a psychic, that still didn't deter his followers from continuing to support and believe in him.
Well, it is so fun. There's so many levels about what we're talking about right now. I know we're kind of dealing with one factor of that, and very much so because, me as a person who have been in spirituality a long time now, I still am open to the opportunity of prophetic words, okay, in the right context. But it's not the thee, thou, thuses, and everything else has to follow by tongues and everything else, okay? Because I think that a lot of times is that we get spiritually used by our Creator in the moments of just good words that you're giving to somebody at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? And then encouraging, because sometimes you can walk up to a person and say, look, your hair is just so beautiful today. I enjoy what you did with that color. And by the way, I love you more than somebody else can love you. And then that could be a prophetic moment for them, for that person, and really change their lives. It don't mean you got to invite them to some church, make them walk down the aisle and confess 39 times, or trying to get in their business, trying to figure out who they're sleeping with. Okay? Y'all got this thing wrong. Okay, at the end of the day, if you are used in a given situation like that, celebrate the fact that you've been used, celebrate that you felt that little goodness in your heart for that time period to share with that person, but that don't give you the opportunity to be the controller over their lives. And this is what a lot of problems that we have in church and ministries, is that these preachers want to control over people's lives. Okay, and then when you, like you said, when you come to a point of critical thinking and you challenge where they are, they want to call you a heretic, like they did my brother Carlton Pearson, because he challenged the status quo by saying that there was no separation between the person in heaven and hell. He did away with hell. Okay, at the end of the day. And if you understand scripture and understand the studying and going to history, there isn't one. Okay, and I'm telling you, I said it, y'all. Okay, for y'all hell people, there isn't one. Okay, but you want to take something and blow it up and not know the true meaning about it. Because guess what? You're taking what somebody said to you rather than you taking the opportunity to get with your Creator and understand the scripture for yourself.
I think the truth behind the truth in this situation is that as a society, we need to stop cherry picking these the people that we follow or that we celebrate. Some people need to be called out on their flaws and their actions, because just because you stand behind a pulpit or a bully pulpit you do not all have the moral compass of reigning over or putting some type of a message over my life.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, that is so good.
Situation at hand in this country as we speak. We build people up to give that they have this power, this know-how.
Right.
Instead of looking at them and saying, I got the message, I see where you're coming from, but I have to understand where I'm at in my own existence, in my own authenticity, because this show is based on authenticity. Where we are in our lives and the truth that we stand, we have to come to a reassurance that you are where you are for that reason. I am where I am for this reason.
Absolutely.
And I'm just saying, just because you got here through matters, that's good for you. But I need to find my own journey, my own path. Right. Give me the word, but let me find my own interpretation in my own time. I don't need you telling me how to do things in my regular life and me going by your doctrine.
Right.
That's more like a dictatorship, to be honest with you.
It's
more of a dictatorship than you know.
That's what it is. And
that is so important, D, what you just said, because I was just watching this video with Jamal Bryant. Ripping Kevin Samuels apart, and I just look at his history and his background, and I just couldn't even take his comments, seriously, because I'm like, here's someone who has had multiple affairs and children out of wedlock, and he's trying to come after Kevin Samuels, who was also an imperfect individual, but he was coming from a like this moral standpoint, like he was better than, and it was like, I just found that very, very interesting. So the messenger for me is really important, because
I'm very high, and again, some points you brought that up here, because I said it part of my reign earlier is that unfortunately, and for my Caucasian audience, I love you guys, okay, so I'm gonna focus on black folk for just a moment, okay, at the end of the day, all right. So the bamboozlement, okay, if I may create a word here, that has happened for the African American community did start from this lack of understanding of what biblical principles were. So what we've allowed for centuries, 400 years or whatever, we've allowed what slave masters said 400 years ago and told you where you had to think, what your frame of mind had to be, and we have made that a doctrine for our lives. And then unfortunately, not we here collectively, but we have formed our religious institutions based upon it, so we don't know where to be free. It's like you're enslaved again. You're enslaved to another level of that, and we don't know where to be raised. We don't know who we are, because at the end of the day, you take a step out and another. Then you're going to end up saying, "Well, then you're being sinful, or you're not loving God the right way," and then all these other labels start coming from. And where is this message coming from? It's coming from what somebody else told you that you should be acting, and that is not the way it works, people. It is not. I rewind all of that. Matter of fact, I'll just snatch all of that out of y'all thinking right now, okay? Because it's stinking thinking, all right? Elevate yourself. Know that you have been created to be free. Number one, that's your truth behind truth. You've been created to be free. You were free in his image from the beginning, okay? So accept the freedom that is available to you. Stop running the bondage every week. If your religious church or the place you go to is not telling you freedom in gospel, get the hell out of there.
Let me tell you something.
Okay,
You just gave me something right there. You gave me
and save your life. It's about you saving. It's about you saving your life. Get the hell out of there. Okay, and stop living the hell that you're living in. All right, go ahead.
But you just gave me this. God has given us the free will to do whatever. He gave us so much free will from the very beginning of the book. In the book of Genesis, when they ate of the fruit, he did not, punish them.
No.
He gave them time to understand and figure out what they did wrong before he came into the situation and said, where are you? Where are you? Why are you hiding from me? I know what you did. I told you not to do it. So what are we going to do? The only thing I can tell you to do is that because you did this, you must leave. You cannot stay here no more because you made a choice to go against the rule that I gave you. Now I'm gonna go to this. That in itself, I feel like with some people they use religion as a crutch to say, well, my word does not mean it's not founded in where I should be going spiritually, because my spiritual leader told me to go left instead of me thinking going right. And I have to say this for Jamal Bryant. Is that his name, Pastor Jamal Bryant?
Yes,
let me say this. Those who go to that church, I wish they are doing their own critical thinking skills, because when he brought up Kevin Samuels, they should have been in that audience saying, wait a minute now, Pastor, you have situations in your house that needs to be cleaned up. You have children out of wedlock. You have baby mama drama. You don't treat your wife right on all types of television platforms. That is where the beginning that we're talking about, the truth behind the truth. That's where that stems from, of putting that man in his place in that moment. Say, wait a minute, hold on now. As much as we don't like Kevin Samuels, I don't stand for Kevin Samuels at all. But you need to clean up your own house.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying.
See, and go ahead, Harold. I'll make a point if you go.
Well, I was just going to say, and it just reminds me that I think what is missed in religion, because we have this hierarchy in religion where we think other people are closer to God than we are. But I always say that everybody's your equal. There's nobody more closer to God than you are. Just because they have a title doesn't make their relationship deeper, more important, or special. I think that religion teaches us differently. It makes us think that person is special because they have this title, or they, and I think that's very, very dangerous. I think a lot of people take advantage of that, and we see it all the time. But you mentioned Kevin Samuels. Now I'm going to have to make a little bit of an admission right now. So I had not paid attention to Kevin Samuels. I just heard the sound bites. And since the last week, I've gone back to listen to some of his interviews, and I don't agree with his delivery, but his message I don't think is far off. Because he talked a lot about people who. Well, let's just put it like this. We have private conversations amongst ourselves about, well, how did that person get that person? Because we are saying that person is not on their level. I mean, we are privately, we have those conversations. We really do. How did she get him, or how did he get her? And because we are equating a value to how they look or what they have. And so we do a little bit of Kevin Samuels behind closed doors. I didn't like his delivery, but as I was listening to the message, because before all I heard was the sound bites where, he was grading folks at 6 and all that and stuff that on the low, we do that in private, but he did it in public, and we didn't like that. And sometimes, we might not like that truth, but I was like, I have a different regard for him now, because I had just kind of totally disregarded him just based upon those sound bites.
Well, you bring up a very good point too, Errol. In that, as I was saying earlier, I had a conversation with my brother last night on the phone, and he was saying that, big bro, you sound like Kevin Samuels. I said, really? I said, well, I'll take that. I said, really? I said, well, in a sense of the word, probably so. I said, because I and you guys know me. I mean, I believe in approaching a situation and telling the truth behind the truth. You see what I'm saying? So whether it makes you feel good or come just like tonight, I'm telling you the truth behind the truth, religious people. You need to get the hell out of there. Okay, and find yourself the place where you need to be spiritually. I'm not against your idea of who you want to be in our Creator. Understand that. All right. But I am saying to you that you finding yourself in your Creator and not finding it through somebody else's understanding for you. Okay. It's not about them finding it for you. It's about you finding it for yourself at the end of the day. Go ahead, which one?
My thing is with Kevin Samuels, what made him different from Iyanla Vanzant?
Okay. Because they're lying to tell you the truth.
Because let me tell you this. Iyanla Vanzant was very transparent in her situation when she came back to the forefront. She talked about her bankruptcy, about the fact that she was allegedly she was a bad mother. She was not a stay-home mother. She was always on drugs. She had foreclosures, she had divorces. But in Kevin Samuels' world, that never came up in all of these ratings, and he never put out his funk, his trash. That's what I want to say when he was giving people these ideas of how to find that one that you're looking for, regardless of who they were finding, and say, you know what, I'm not only speaking to you, I'm speaking to myself, because I myself has been divorced. I have 2 daughters. I see my daughters in you. So when I'm talking to you, I'm talking to myself as well as me talking to my daughters. Now, the saddest thing about that, with those sound bites, he never came out and say, I said that, but that's not the full scope of the context of the content that I put out. Y'all need to come and watch my whole entire show. Never did that. Right. He stood on the purpose of bullying, not in the bullying in the sense of I have the high idea over why you can't get that 6-figure man or why you can't get that good-looking, light-skinned woman.
Is that not the same?
The saddest thing about that is, as Black people in our culture, we tend to look over who is more experienced to looking to who's over mediocre. Right. We look to mediocre people for the hookup to the people who have the PhDs. Iyanla had the degree, she had the book, she had the know-how, right. But
hold your point. We got to go to a break.
Okay, we're going.
Let's pick it up from what we.
Okay, I was going there.
All right. Keep that going there. All right, I want you to go there.
Go ahead. Go
all right, we'll be right back after this break. All right. All right. And we're back, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to the truth reality behind the truth tonight. All right. This is your real reality show, because it become real to you. Okay.
Well, let me make this short and sweet. I just want to say this, though. I just feel like as a society, we like abuse. We like abuse. We like abuse. We like the fact that people would tear us down, and we want to stay in victim mode or some type of chaotic situations. Like when you put out something that is inspiring, that will speak life into somebody, they look at it as like, okay, then so what are you trying to get at? Are you trying to take money out of my pocket? Out of somebody saying, well, you a bitch. You were Dusty, and they giving you hundreds and 20s, and I ain't trying to, but you know what I'm trying to get at. We give people money for calling us out our names and speaking life into us. So I look at it like this with this Kevin Samuels situation. Yeah, I didn't stand for what he stood for, because I saw the man behind the curtain. What was so sad that the way he died, that was the man behind the curtain. He didn't have it all together. Right. He lived in a rental, telling people who lived in rentals to rise up or to level up. Okay. You know how they are. Level up. Get up out of your situation. But you are in a rental. Right. Nothing wrong with being in a rental or an apartment, but you made it sound so terrible for those who were seeking advice that where you're living is the most horrible place to live, to find whoever you're trying to find. I'm just saying, we got to do better as a society when it boils down to who we're listening to: pastors, politicians, musicians.
Right.
musicians, and all these crazy nuts artists and actors. We got to understand that we need people in our lives who's going to speak life into us.
Absolutely.
And throw out the garbage, the baggage, which are people who are not speaking life into our lives. Because that's what's going on right now. All these mass shootings. Listen to the music. Look at the movies.
Right, absolutely.
It's just, come on now. It's not inspirational.
And we have to stop putting people on a pedestal. We really have to stop putting people on a pedestal. I happened to see an interview with Kevin Samuels on Vlad TV, and I learned a lot about him. I didn't know he was a cancer survivor. He had cancer at 21. He had to drop out of college. He had 2 marriages. The first one was like less than a year. The second one was like 3 years. He kind of stumbled into this success and fame. He had gone from job to job, and it was only in 2015 that he kind of started to find his way and created this image consulting firm that didn't take off immediately, and it didn't blow up until 2019, when some video that he had went viral. And so it was just interesting to kind of hear his story, but there was no credibility to him offering advice to anybody, because he had no credentials, he had no successful, relationships, but here it is. People were clamoring to him for advice, which that's on us as individuals. Because why are you accepting advice from someone just because they're charismatic, but you don't, you haven't taken the time to look at their background or even to question their credentials? That's on us as an individual who are willing to. But it happens in the church a lot, so we're used to charismatic people, that don't have nothing to offer but some nice words. Right. We listen and follow them all the time. And so I guess he's just evidence of that.
And nice musical theater too. I mean, it's the best musical productions are at churches.
Well, yeah, true. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, but I mean, you kind of summed a lot of that right there, what you just said here. At the end of the day, because it's where we started off the show tonight. Basically, I didn't want to stay in this vein, but you know how we are. When you get in that vein, say that because there is truth behind the truth and what we're talking about tonight. But and we put these people, these pastors, and all these people on these levels, presidents, congressmen, all these people that you think they have some level of authority over you, and you the only authority over you is what should be is that the relationship you have with your creator. Nobody else has that type of authority to tell you anything about your life. And listen, now, don't get me wrong. Okay, there are guidelines to follow. Yes, I understand all that. Don't think I'm not know what I'm talking about, people. Yeah. All right. But what I mean by that is that no one should be laying that out for you. Okay, whether you're straight or whether you're gay. Nobody should. Is there a rule for being straight? Is there a rule for being gay? No. Okay, it's not. Okay,
but there's an imaginary rule for both of those.
Right. Well, yeah, but that's a whole imaginary rule. Well, it is right. It's imaginary rule. But then again, you find people that are doing all kind of practices in their bedroom now that they don't want to talk about. Hence, why we got a lot of women or babies to make up for what we're doing in our offices. But we won't go there tonight. Yeah. We won't bring that back up, okay? Because there will be more truth behind the truth. Okay. I mean, really, you got to watch people patterns, okay? And the patterns will speak for themselves. All right, they do stuff to cover up something else, rather than being transparent about who they are and authentically living that authentic life. Here's the thing: live that life authentically, then people will be drawn to you to hear out of your authenticity, not out of the shit that you try to, not the polished shit that you try to give them. Okay, and then sprinkle some lights all over, tell them that doesn't smell good. No. Come on, be for real.
Les Brown says it like this. He says, "What you do speaks so loud, I can't hear what you say."
Oh, wow.
What you do speak so loud, I can't hear what you say. You can say whatever, but it's what you do is what resonates with me, what speaks to me, not what you say.
But why can't that resonate with everybody when it boils down to who you are following? I mean, the thing about it is you practice what you preach.
Right.
If you're telling me to do one thing and you doing another thing, so how can I reason with that? But you have people who cherry pick all day, every day. They cherry pick people's. Well, he is anointed to stand behind here and tell me the word of God. But he has 3 women on the side and plus a dude that we don't know nothing about. I'm being real now. Let's be real. Absolutely. It's the truth behind the truth. Because what we don't want to let you know is that even with the fact of being in the church has its dramas and its issues with sexuality.
Absolutely.
That's why you have all of this going on in the background with certain pastors who preach against homosexuality, but next thing you know, they're on an OnlyFans account doing the nasty,
right?
And you got people in the church cherry picking. Well, okay, that was a situation right there, but he's still anointed.
Okay. Okay, then whatever you did, you still anointed too. Okay, at the end of the day.
So, JP, what would you say to our audience members that are watching our program and are thinking these heathens on here talking about Christian religion? What would you say to them, because they thinking we don't love God? They thinking that we don't love God because
we love God. We just don't like man's interpretation and idea of God.
Right.
Man's interpretation is what we don't like.
So okay, I'm gonna put it this way. I'm gonna put a little funny on it. I'll get to you the root of your point. So if we're considered a heathen, look, where's my hat? I'm gonna put the heathen hat on really nice. You know, I'll make it look good, child. Ooh, don't I look good in my heathen hat? Okay. All right, because here it is. All right, and here's the truth. I love my Creator more than anybody on this thing could ever talk about. Okay, but I have been through years of understanding of bureaucracy in church settings. Okay, that just have blown my mind in terms of not the good, but the horrendous. Okay, so my encouragement to you is, like I said before, you know, study your history. If you don't want to take what I said tonight, Harold and Diamond, study it for yourself. Okay, study it for yourself. Now, I don't say pick up the scripture and try to find that. Study world history. Okay, study how man evolved. Study Black history. Okay, all right. Study enslaved history, and you find where these little bits and pieces of scripture have shown up to try to gain power over a group of people to marginalize them. The same way on a regular Sunday, you get marginalized by not knowing your authentic self when you walk up out of there. Yeah. Bottom line. Okay, so anyway, this has been a wonderful, wonderful night. Right. Okay, here on Truth Behind the Truth, because that's what we're about. Okay, now if we're gonna rant and rave about something, we're gonna rant and rave about something that's gonna bring some light, to enlighten you, to lighten your life.
So, what is the solution? What's the solution for the night since we ranted? What is a critical thinking is one for me?
Okay.
Well, in that you don't have to live in bondage, because the truth will set you free. It's the truth that sets you free.
Absolutely, it's the truth, and it's your truth. That's the thing. It's your truth. My truth can't be your truth. Your truth can't be my truth. Okay. Right. And live that truth that has been revealed to you. It's revealed to you every day you wake up and put your nasty feet on the floor. Okay. At the end of the day, it is. I'm not being funny, but really, every day you wake up, your truth is being revealed to you. Amen. Pursue that truth each and every day. Then you understand why we have developed and continue to build a beautiful show for you called The Truth Behind the Truth. All right. Y'all have a powerful night. Thanks for tuning in tonight. It has been really, really awesome. And we may carry this over to next week. You know, hey, there's more we can talk about. But hot topics with the fellas are always good. All right, Harold, thank you, brother. Good to see you tonight. Love you guys. See you next week on The Truth. Okay.